Colonel Saidullah Madaminov, the former chief of the Uzbekistan Air and Air Defense Forces. My dad, visiting me in Australia. Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 2 on Mr. Colonel's adventures in Australia. More specifically, if you remember in episode 1, we focused on exploring the southern Sunshine Coast, more specifically the Pelican Waters area, Golden Beach, and some parts of Caloundra, such as the Caloundra Air Museum. There was a bit of a shopping in Caloundra, as well as trying lychees. In this episode, we're going to focus on the rest of the southern Sunshine Coast, which includes the beaches of Caloundra, the Bullcock Beach, the Kings Beach, Shelley Beach, Moffat Beach, and of course the Dickey Beach. We also explored the Karamundi Lake, went to the Caloundra Street Fair, and of course we explored the Caloundra Botanic Gardens because, as you would remember, Dad is a bit of a botanist, he likes trees. Anyway, the weather forecast for the day predicted heavy showers later in the day, so we did not prepare to swim, but despite all this, the day looked beautiful. So first thing, we were out at the Bullcock Beach, and straight up we noticed the Beach Santa sign, and I was like, hell yeah, I'm taking my dad there. But as always, Mr. Colonel has to enjoy his smoke first. And straight after the smoke, me and Mr. Colonel went to the Beach Santa, and Mr. Colonel was like, okay, let's keep it professional, just give him a handshake. Okay, nice, perfect. And that's it, don't worry about Santa. So after that, we didn't mock around too much and went straight onto the Bullcock Beach. So here we are now with Dad, we're at the Bullcock Beach. This is northern tip of the Bribie Island, right there. That's where Bribie Island starts, and then goes all the way to pretty much Caboolture. There's a helicopter flying there. You know, there's a lot of helicopters on a daily basis. Yeah. So, Dad, we're gonna start here, right? We're gonna start here, Bullcock Beach. We're gonna go all the way around the what's the next one? We'll come back. Yeah, we'll go to the Kings Beach. Shelley, Moffat, so Kings, Shelley, Moffat, and then maybe Dickey Beach, and then make a loop back to back to Bullcock, you know, because we parked up the car here, so we'll have to come back to pick up the car. So. And as soon as we were out of the Bullcock Beach, number one thing straight up I noticed was the beach patrol, because the beach patrol is a big deal in Australia because of all the shark attacks, the jellyfish attacks, and you never know what else is going to attack you from the sea, as well as people who don't know how to swim. So well done, boys, keep up the good work. So the Bullcock Beach itself is located in the inner side of the Sunshine Coast, which makes the water here very still, which is perfect for kids and toddlers. So as we were walking on the Bullcock Beach, we just noticed that apparently the beach is ending, so we have to go back on a pathway. So some people fishing at the end of the Bullcock Beach. So the Bullcock Beach is very short, so we came out at the Happy Valley entrance, and by the way, this is the Happy Valley for the kids. So after the Happy Valley, we kept rolling and we saw a beach opposite the Happy Valley, which we initially assumed as Kings Beach. So we just saw some people training for surfing on the beach, and I remember, yeah, we're gonna go down. Yeah. So, and I remembered it, and I'm like, well, I've done surfing many years ago. But I didn't like it because it was, I just get cold in the water, you know. I just get cold really quickly. Dad is coming. I don't know, this water is not my thing, you know. We're from Uzbekistan, you know. There's bugger all water there. There's no water. So we're at the Kings Beach now with a big man. What do you think?
I think good.
Good? You like it?
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice one.
Good day.
Good day, beautiful day. It's getting a bit windy and cold, so yeah.
No cold.
No cold.
But to swim cold.
Cold for swimming, but
For swimming.
yeah, cold anyway. Basically, it's cold, and surfing has never been our thing because remember, we're from Uzbekistan. We're like pretty much one of the only double landlocked countries in the world, you know. So water is not our thing, but camels are. We love camels. And just like that, the Kings Beach ended as well. So we had an option to continue our journey by a proper pathway which is built for people, or keep it caveman, go by the rocks, stay natural. And guess what we did? Of course we're gonna go by the rocks. Of course. And as soon as we crossed those rocks, we realized something. So we just realized, me and Dad, we made a bit of a geographic mistake. This is the King's Beach. Not what we thought. I mean, there's kind of like another smaller beach behind those rocks there. We thought there was a King's Beach, but it wasn't a King's Beach, right? So it was kind of still part of the Bullcock Beach or just unnamed beach. I don't know what it is, but no, this is the King's Beach. Right there, you can see it's a nice little, supervised beach. It's got a lot of people swimming there, stuff like that. So yeah, awesome. And the dangerous Shelley's Beach starts behind those cliffs there, be around the corner kind of thing. So yeah. And we found the real King's Beach, which seemed to be a really nice beach, I'll tell you that much, my friend. And then we took the Ormond Terrace exit out of the King's Beach and saw some swimming pool, and Dad straight up goes, "Ho ho ho, why do they need a swimming pool here? There is so much water in the water." And I'm like, "Dad, it's just providing more options for people." The swimming pool is apparently named after Sir Francis Nicklin, who was an ex-premier of Queensland from Sunshine Coast. We then climbed the Caloundra Headland, which offered a nice view on the King's Beach and the Coral Sea.
Real good apartment building. Yes?
Yeah.
Highlander.
And then as we kept walking, we noticed lots of plaques alongside the walkway, which happens to be the Caloundra Headland Memorial Walkway. So it looks like during World War II, that was a very famous Brisbane to... Dad is just reading some soldiers' details there, but it looks like... So during World War II, there was a famous Brisbane to Adelaide defence line, and Caloundra seems to be the northernmost point, defensive point of that line, was Caloundra right here. So it looks like at the northern tip of the King's Beach, there were actually a lot of the machine guns and stuff like that placed here. Then we got to Centaur Park, named after Australian hospital ship Centaur, sunk in 1943 off the Moreton Island by the Japanese submarine. Some Afghanis were having a barbecue and it smelled so good. Then we got to the Anzac Park. Then, just before the Wickham Point where the coastline bends, Dad decided to go down onto the rocks. And as soon as we turn around a corner onto Shelley Beach, the intensiveness of the weather, wind and the waves was undeniable, as well as its rockiness, if you like. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you can hear right now because it's really windy, so I gotta like yell out so you can hear me. But anyway, this is the Shelley Beach. This is the only non-swimming. It's too dangerous to swim here because it's rocky. A lot of rocks around here, isn't it? Very dangerous. No swimming out here. No bloody... Yeah?
Also rocks. In deep.
Yeah. Inside the water. Inside the water, there's also rocks, So if you can't see those rocks, it doesn't mean they're not there. They're there, mate. You know what I mean? They're just in the water. So no swimming here. Just be. You see, there's a rock popping out of there, for instance. Dangerous. Yeah. Sometimes when there's a up tide, when the water goes off, you can see the rocks. They pop out of the water. Anyway, this is a dangerous place. You do not swim here, you know what I mean? You do not swim on Shelley Beach when you come to Caloundra. This is a dangerous beach. Just remember that. Yeah, paragliding.
4, 5, 6.
Walk very carefully, Dad. It's very slippery here. I just nearly slipped off there and broke my head.
Some.
Some. Places are very slippery, you see? It's got that bloody algae thing underneath it, so just gotta be careful, Dad. Just walk slowly and carefully. Slowly and carefully, Dad. We'll get through this. So it's strongly not recommended to swim on Shelly Beach because it's rocky on both sides and it's geographically an exposed area towards the sea if you look at it on the map. But despite all these, there's always champions out there trying to swim, why not? So our journey continued towards the Moffat Headland lookout where we got a better view of Shelly Beach. As well as a bit of a remote piloting show. Yeah, it's a bit windy. And then we continued on to Des Dwyer Walkway,
where we saw a lot of lizards and got a nice view of Moffat and Dickey beaches.
We're going to the Moffat Beach. And then we arrived at the monument known as the Queen of the Colonies, which is dedicated to the ship Queen of the Colonies, which sailed into the Moreton Bay back in 1863. And the story goes that a captain's wife passed away on board, and in order to bury her ashore, they sent out a little boat with a group of sailors to do so. And then one of a sudden the storm came in, they got lost, and the poor group of sailors had to survive 14 days on shellfish and berries until they got rescued. Yeah, a bit of a story there, you know. As for us though, we didn't mock around the bush there for too long, and we went straight onto the Moffat Beach. The Moffat Beach was unpatrolled but looked very nice nevertheless, but we were too hungry at that point. We just wanted to go and get some fish and chips. Here we are now with Dad. We're at the some fish and chips shop. We stopped.
Very delicious and spicy.
Very delicious and spicy. Fish and chops. We stopped here, we're loving it, we're hungry. After the fish and chips, we continued our journey to cross the Two-Way Creek via the Two-Way Creek Bridge to eventually reach the Dickey Beach.
Your warranty is a city.
In Newcastle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good city. Yeah. There is a red and yellow flag. Never. Never go.
Okay. At the Dicky Beach, Dad found some traces of a shipwreck and was wondering if that fossicking fella would eventually find it.
This man finds this ship.
But put the jokes aside, this shipwreck is the reason why this beach is called Dicky, because this is the SS Dicky shipwreck, and the beach was named after it, which was a German-built ship which got blown ashore due to bad weather back in 1893. So here we go now with Dad. We're on Dicky Beach at the moment. It's been a long day. We had so much fun. We're so tired. Oh, excuse me, just finished that beer. We got a burp out. Anyway, it's been a long day. We had a good day. We loved it. And by the way, really far there, that's Mooloolaba, the center of the Sunshine Coast. Maroochydore, Mooloolaba. The Sunshine Coast is really long. See that? It goes for 60 kilometers. It's longer than Gold Coast. It's massive. So the Dicky Beach was really nice, but it was well into the second part of the day. We were getting a bit tired and we thought it must be the time to get back to the car, which is all the way back at the Bulcock Beach. So for that reason we had to catch a bus. Just got on a bus.
Trip on the bus.
Trip on the bus. We got to the Caloundra bus stop. We walked to the car. And we hit the road towards the Currimundi Lake. But first, we decided to check out the oldest building in Caloundra, the Caloundra Lighthouse. The first one was built in 1896 and is officially the oldest building of Caloundra. The other one was constructed in 1968 and is still functional. Then we didn't mock around too much and went straight to Currimundi Lake. Currimundi Lake looked beautiful, and by the way, it did not rain as they promised in the weather forecast this morning, so we should have come here for swimming. But it is what it is. Lake Currimundi, yeah, the water must be really warm here. See a lot of kids, a lot of people swimming there. Dad was thinking about crossing this, the mouth of the Currimundi Lake. He was hoping that it wouldn't be as deep as it turned out to be, and it's pretty deep. We're definitely not doing it. And the current, remember the current is very strong current, so very strong current. Yeah, very strong current. Yeah. So yeah, no, we're not doing it this time. This is the mouth of the Lake Currimundi, and the lake itself goes Currimundi River. Oh, lake, they call it Lake Currimundi. They call it a lake, Currimundi Lake, because it's big. Yeah, Lake Currimundi. So. So we walked around Currimundi Lake, and apparently we found out that during World War II there used to be a training ground here, so there are still a lot of shrapnels and unexploded ammunition sometimes are being found in this area. And then we walked to the other end of the Currimundi Lake. So basically we're at the other side of the Currimundi Lake. The Currimundi Lake technically is still the bridge. This is the Nicklin Way, and this side of the bridge is the Currimundi Creek. And I'm standing here in the water basically, and that's where the Currimundi Creek splits in two. That point is called the Paper Bark Point, and then it splits in two. The smaller part goes into there, which is still called the Currimundi Creek, and the bigger part goes into there, which is also Currimundi Creek, but not long after there it splits into two different canals. One of them is called the Baruna Canal and the Pangali Canal. So there you have it. So we're back at the car now with Dad. We're really tired. We had a big day. We walked all the way around. Right, so we're gonna go back home and call it for the day, I guess, and then get ready for the Kalandra markets, I think, coming up tomorrow, and a bit of a more exploring of Karamandi and places like that. So, looking forward.
Okay.
Good plan.
Let's go.
Let's do it. Next day in the morning, we wanted to finish off exploring the Great Karamandi Lake by going onto the bridge which goes over it. The section of the Nicklin Way that goes over the Karamandi Lake. This is the northern entrance to the southern Sunshine Coast, which we've explored this time. To the other side of the bridge lies, as we refer to, Central Sunshine Coast, which we will explore some other time. The highlight of the last day was the Kalandra Street Fair, which is a weekly Sunday street market, which is set up on Bullcock Street, which offers different types of arts, crafts, and food and live entertainment. Kalandra in general is very artistic. We saw lots of cool looking murals around Kalandra. When we got to the Bullcock Street for the Kalandra Street Fair, we straight up noticed the Walk of Stars, which is similar to the one in the US California. I have no clue.
Normie Rowe.
Nomi Rowe. Plan's favorite son of the 60, Tony Worsley. Might have to look him up, no idea who that is. This one is Ricky May, Australia's most loved entertainer. Yeah, New Zealander. Apparently must have been a bit of a Kiwi. Alison Durban, the queen of country rock, basically. Kalandra City News. And she was also a bit of a Kiwi. New Zealand, mate. Daryl Cotton, Zoot Lives hit single, Eleanor Rigby. After going through the Walk of Stars, we entered the Kalandra Street Fair. There were a lot of cool homemade things for sale, really awesome looking pieces of art, different types of crafts, home utilities and kitchenware. Yeah. No, if there's anything you like, Dad, just go for it.
Wow. Wolf?
Bore.
Wolf.
Wolf, yeah, wolf.
Well, actually, I'll pick it up Saturday. We'll house it last time. Yeah. Work that way. Awesome.
That's a surfboard at the bottom there. That's pretty cool, eh? How you going? Yeah, good, thanks.
No sugar added to them. I like the chunky.
And without
I just didn't want it to fall off on him though.
Busted, yeah, busted.
also a lot of international food.
Where are you going?
Actually, I just realized I can see myself in the reflection.
Come on.
This is sweet. Yes.
Mexican tacos.
I done.
Tibetan momos.
No, what is momo?
And of course the live music. Dad and I, we absolutely loved the Caloundra Street Fair. Finally, before we left the Southern Sunshine Coast, as you remember, Dad is a bit of a colonel, but he's also a bit of a botanist. That's why there was one place we had to go to, Caloundra Botanic Gardens, also known as Ben Bennett Bushland Park. Here we are now, ladies and gentlemen. We are at the Ben Bennett Botanic Park, which is also known as the Caloundra Botanic Park. The dad is right there in the background. We are loving it, totally loving it. There's a lot of trees, massive eucalyptus. Dad is like, wow, these are big trees. I've never seen such big eucalyptus in my life, he says. And we're on the way to the some lagoon, and there's apparently a good lookout there. So here we are now, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we're at the lagoon. This is the lagoon lookout. Dad is there, he's enjoying it, he's loving it. It's a quite nice place, you know, we're loving it. Bottle, yeah. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the Sunshine Coast, the Southern Sunshine Coast I should say, trip is over now for this time. We're just going back to Brizzy now. We're really tired and hungry, but we're gonna have some food in Brisbane. And it was a good trip, wasn't it?
Yes.
Did you like it? Yes. Nice trip. Southern Sunshine Coast. Next time we'll be somewhere else, but we still got the Central Sunshine Coast and the Northern Sunshine Coast, Noosa and all that area to explore. But Caloundra, Southern Sunny Coast, been pretty nice. We loved it. That's all I can say. And that was it for the episode 2 and the Southern Sunshine Coast trip. We absolutely loved it. It was a great trip, Dad says. 10 out of 10, he says. Stay tuned for more episodes in the future. We're not sure where exactly we're going to go next, but it might be somewhere in Brisbane, might be somewhere else in the southeast Queensland. There's only one way to find out. Stay tuned.